Today, I want us to imagine what people will say of us all a century from now. People look back on the moments that are the turning points in world history, 1789, 1848, 1945, 1989. Only in retrospect do people see the significance of the times that they are living through. But in the last 2 years, our world has been suffering not just an ordinary economic downturn, but what will be remembered as the first crisis of globalization. It's the first crisis of a world being totally transformed by the scale of global financial flows, by the global sourcing of goods, and by the speed, the scale, and the scope.
So they promise you that NAFTA and GATT and the World Trade Organization are going to create milk and honey. Their own internal documents 30 years ago said it was designed to deindustrialize and get us dependent, that they would then tell us it was a service economy and then even take that away from us. He then goes on, as he just said, that this crisis is going to bring in their new world order, a crisis that Goldman Sachs and other internal documents that are in mainstream news document were done by design. Let's continue with Gordon Brown.
Of globalization itself. And it's a world of massive new opportunities that I want to talk about.
And pause again. They create the crisis. They offer the solution. Their opportunities to make you become bankrupt so you beat yourself on the wreck of world government. They don't care if it wrecks things. That's the design. They want feudalism. Continue.
But also, as we found, a world of massive new uncertainties and insecurities too. What we have experienced is not just the usual inflation-driven economic crises, such as we have seen in the past 50 years, but a wholesale crisis.
The central banks, in a coordinated fashion on record, have caused the devaluation of global currencies in the West to stay at the same level so people don't notice it by one currency being worth more than another. But here he is talking about instabilities they created by design. This is the progenitor. This is the spokesman for the people that engineered this, and they brag that Wall Street and the big banks have gotten more power out of this. Continue.
That has gone right to the heart of the global financial system itself. And so it is time for us, as we reflect on these events, to draw conclusions about the new framework and the new policies we do need to build a stronger and fairer world economy that will meet the needs of its citizens in this new global age. Quite simply, without radical change, we will not be able to emerge from the crisis into a stronger, fairer, more stable future.
Again. So as they wreck things, as they have shock therapy, as they shut down economies by design, as they wreck Greece and Spain and Portugal and the United States and Iceland by design, and get fabulously wealthy and write articles about how they're screwing us and laugh at us, he's got a new solution. The bankers' world covenant, their world constitution, where they run things. As the Copenhagen Treaty said, you will pay your taxes to the private banks on everything you do with this planetary skin of surveillance. Here it is.
So here are my proposals for discussion today.
Get ready.
I believe, first of all, that we now need nothing short of a world constitution for the global financial system. Secondly, I believe that each country needs national growth and jobs strategies that are founded on science, innovation, and skills for the future.
Okay, so a global government rule, a constitution, a treaty that you sign on to and waive your rights, and then green jobs, which aren't green, which all the public largesse and money that you've paid in taxes is then given to Al Gore, Barack Obama, the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers that openly own the carbon trading and the windmill companies and all the rest of it. And then they do home inspections and make you use the company they want to, quote, fix your house. And you've got to buy the light bulbs they have a patent on, and the toilet they have a patent on, and the refrigerant they have a patent on. And they get to decide what factory stays open, what gets shut down to even what car dealership's allowed to stay open. Continue.
But also, and this is my key point, growth for each of us will be lower, and therefore low growth will affect us all unless there is a strategy for global growth agreed between the G20.
Another lie. Another lie. They don't want growth in the United Nations Biological Diversity Assessment 96, in the 1973 State Department Memorandum 200, in all their statements. But see, that's the big lie, is that this will give you growth. Continue.
20 countries and beyond. Thirdly, I believe that as we develop the skill jobs that are going to be necessary for the future, we should see social mobility as the modern route to social justice. And we should devise together the radical measures that will massively accelerate the rate of social mobility in our societies.
All right, pause. That means wealth redistribution, robbing the middle class, giving a tiny pittance to the poor after you've already taken their jobs, and then transferring the lion's share of it to offshore banks who claim they're going to give it to the third world. But the third world actually saw the treaty. They had to make right at double the cuts in carbon emissions that the first world did. So more lies, more deception. Oh, it's liberal. That's why we're radical redistribution of wealth. Continue.
And fourth, with globalization, we have a unique chance to recognize our global interdependence as citizens and work towards a truly global society. And that is a world free from climate change catastrophe, it's a world free from terrorism, and a world where we tackle poverty, disease, illiteracy, and inequality.
Applause. So, we're staging terror, we've got a hoax about the polar bears all dying, and sea levels rising, which they admit's a fraud, and temperatures rising, which is a fraud, as if that's even bad. And we're going to do this in global interdependence under this global constitution run by the banks. And now he talks about a new world order. Go ahead.
Together, I think these proposals are the modern progressive way of achieving our historic goals of economic progress, social justice, environmental care.
There must be a longer clip because, or it must be at the first, because he says New World Order in the clip I sent you guys. Yeah. Watch the front of it, because I know you guys started it later in the clip. I mean, the name of the clip is Gordon Brown Calls for New World Order. I mean, there's countless clips. That's the part I really want to play. But there he is. There he is calling for all of this in your face. I'm going to skip this break. I'm going to skip this last break. And if that's not the right clip, because I sent you one, that's the one Burmis gave you, he says New World Order several times in that speech. If not, pull up another YouTube of him calling for New World Order and saying we'll use this crisis for a New World Order. It's important to have that last clip. I'm going to, pardon me? We'll just pull up another YouTube of him saying it. It's at that speech he said New World Order, so that's the wrong one if it doesn't have it. Now, here you have Gordon Brown pushing all of this in your face. This new global constitution. Let's jam in a couple phone calls here. And then, John, tell me when my guest is ready. Let's go ahead and talk to Alex in Indiana. Alex, you're on the air. Already went to Alex. Jerry in Florida, you're on the air.
Yes, sir. I just wanted to tell you that the Tallahassee TV News the other night had picketers in Quincy, Florida, carrying signs, a utility bill, $1,000 for 1 month. You did hear what I said?
Hey, natural gas was $15 per 1,000 cubic feet, the British measurement. Now it's been $2, $3, but you pay more in Austin. $2.6 billion in greenhouse gas taxes in the next 3 years if the Austin City Council this month or later next month is going to have a surprise vote to pass it. Absolute raping. Go ahead.
I wanted to tell you, my wife brought a cashier's check from a big bank in Cincinnati down here to deposit. She wanted to cash it. They wouldn't let her cash it, okay? It was like for $4,000. She had $5,000 in the bank. They made her sign a paper that they would hold those funds on that cashier's checks for 30 days. This is a bank cashier's check.
Yeah, they're getting from a bank that guarantees it. They're going to use the interest on your money and everybody else's money, and they're using this new federal regulation to hold money for 7 days, even if you already have money in the bank. They're saying they're going to hold it. We're going to cover that in the rebroadcast coming up. It's amazing, isn't it?
Yes, it's amazing. And then about a month later, I went down. I wanted to buy a CD from the bank. The girl took me aside and she said, no. You don't want to put your money in that. She said, here's a card. You go down the road. You go to this brokerage house. See this man. Make an appointment with him. Put your money in the stock market. This is about 2 or 3 years ago.
And now they're saying they can take your pension funds, they can take your 401k. They're saying they may take and not pay you back for your money markets. They are imploding the economy. And if we don't kick the bankers out, it's over for us as a society. I appreciate your call. Let's jam in one more here. Mark in Mass, you're on the air. Mark, go ahead.
Hey, man, we love you in Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and the truth about 9/11, the New World Order, is wicked popular amongst the youth here. I just had one point. You were discussing the possibility of an inside job regarding the alleged suicide pilot Joe Stack.
Yes.
You said he questions about the suicide note raised by his family. But his family is really wacky. His daughter labeled the attack tamely inappropriate. And the attack also killed a Vietnam vet. His name was Vernon Hunter. And
no, I mean, I made that point when we read her in the AP saying it doesn't sound like him, and then separately she's saying if he did do it, she thinks he's a hero. So, yes, we covered that. I appreciate your call on that subject. Folks, I want to shift gears now here at the very end of the show and tell you we had Dr. Paul Craig Roberts in the interview today. I covered the bank runs, the appearance of preparation for that. It's linked up on Drudge, our article, and links to other articles that we have on prisonplanet.com. I covered so much today. I'm really proud of this broadcast.